and him talking more about some of the things that Kyren was dealing with as far as people talking about him on social media and people calling him a murderer, and his mugshot just splattered all across TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. This is just completely devastating. Kyren Lacy's attorney is speaking out after the former LSU star's untimely passing. The attorney told a local TV station in Baton Rouge that Lacy was a, quote, young man with immense promise, and he was crushed under the weight of an irresponsible and prejudiced process, end quote. Now, the lawyer also believed that the charges would have been dropped or at least reduced once a grand jury heard all of the evidence in the case. Now, back in December, Lacy was charged with negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless driving. He was not invited to the NFL scouting combine, and an argument with a family member ultimately led to him taking his own life. Now, this is just completely devastating because Kyren Lacy was one of those players that just took social media by storm. Everybody wanted to see what new dances he was going to do for celebrations. And it was just like a big thing. I think that everybody loves LSU anyway, but when you're an LSU wide receiver, you just already get like this, I don't know, like this stardom. You get pushed into stardom so quickly. And he kind of had this unconventional route to LSU. He played at Louisiana Lafayette before, and then he went to LSU where he quickly became a star, and he was preparing to follow in the footsteps of his brothers and Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and play in the NFL. And so where now the attorney is coming out and saying that maybe Kyren wasn't as at fault as police is letting on. Of course, this is all alleged. This is what the attorney is saying, and him talking more about some of the things that Kyren was dealing with as far as people talking about him on social media and people calling him a murderer, and his mugshot just splattered all across TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. We saw him last month at LSU's Pro Day, and we saw like the New Orleans Saints tweeting out his 40 time and some of his other accomplishments while at Pro Day. And I guess for most of us, we felt like everything was going to be good for Kyren, right? Like maybe it won't be as bad as a Henry Ruggs situation, which was also very tragic. Let's get into more of what Kyren's lawyer had to say. So he said that they were supposed to have the matter heard before a grand jury on Monday. He said that they were confident that the evidence, after being fully collected and reviewed, would have led to a declination of charges. And so that is really crazy. He calls out the district attorney by name, and he said that to this day that DA had not formally charged Kyren of any crimes. According to police, they say that Kyren had gotten to some sort of argument or disagreement with a family member while he was in Houston. And so I don't know what was in Kyren's mind, but obviously he must have felt like with everything going on, if he had gotten any more bad news from this grand jury that following day, that it would have just been way too much for him. And I know a lot of people have compared this to like Henry Ruggs. I think that the difference is like Henry Ruggs had already been drafted in the first round. You know, he did get to play in the NFL. But again, this is such a tragic situation all the way around. I want to hear from you all. What did you make of Kyren Lacy's untimely passing? What did you make of his lawyer coming out and what he had to say? And do you feel like mental health needs to be more on the forefront when it comes to these athletes? I want to hear from you down in the comments.